Hello and welcome to another build guide. So this is gonna be a build that mostly focuses on clearing maps real fast, but you can still kill guardian bosses obviously, or those kind of conquerors. I killed a couple of those and there will be some clips on Awaken level 8 as usual. But this is mostly a mapping build right now, and just with my investment, let's say. If you really enjoy the build, if you want to even push it further, I will mention some more gear options at the end of the video, which are expensive options. So you can also check those and even upgrade the build more. But this is, with my current gear, it is enough to do everything. You can even skip a couple of pieces. Maybe I will just put some notes while explaining the item, so you can even play this cheaper. But this is not the low budget. Let's get rid of that. But obviously not that high budget. So you can easily farm the money by farming maps, the new Valdo farms, Legion farms, those kind of stuff. I also have guides on those, so you can check those if you want. You don't even need a Headhunter or anything like that, Delirium or whatever. You can just do that without those requirements by simply playing this build also. So the most clips are obviously gonna be about those farms on the background, so you can just see how this build destroys the whole screen. And it even sometimes, especially on harbingers, it sometimes lags like 1 second maybe, because the server cannot register what's going on because of the explosions and Herald of Ice stuff. Yeah, so this is a build mostly for map clear, but you can still kill bosses. So what is this build and why it clears so fast, let's say. Let's explain those real quick, and then after I will mention and explain the items. So first of all, we are playing Winter Orb, and we are using the newly buffed, let's say, yeah, Occultist. So she has a good synergy with power charges and also AoE stuff thanks to the power charges again. So let's check this note here. Area of effect per power charge, we have 10 power charges, so that means 60% area of effect, 60% damage. You can also get some power charge by spending mana, but that isn't important for us. We are generating our power charges thanks to power charge on critical support gem, which also gives, let's see, 4% more damage per power charge, so it means 40% more damage because we have 10 power charges. And that's how also we are generating our power charges. Because this build doesn't consume that much mana, that 200 mana doesn't do anything to us. My Winter Orb right now has 3 mana cost, yeah, and also +1 power charges. So what else? Nearby enemies have -20 cold res. This is good for DPS obviously, and also this other stuff at the bottom, reduced life regeneration. So this blocks the regeneration of some kind of monsters, so this is also good. Cannot be chilled, cannot be frozen, so you don't need any freeze flask at all. So you can easily play with 2 unique flasks while mapping. And we also have a curse immunity flask, and that's it. And there are also some stuff about chilling enemies, but that isn't that important. And 15% more cold damage, yeah, I forgot that. So we get some DPS here also. And finally, malediction, additional curse. We are using 3 curses. One is for only bosses, but yeah, we have 3 total curses. We are going to talk about those later. Effect of curses, which is good, and also malediction to cursed enemies. That's also 10% reduced damage taken, and also 10% increased damage to enemies. So this is good for both DPS and defense. So yeah, she's in a perfectly fine position right now after the little buffs. She's also the #1 option for chaos builds right now. So if you are also looking for maybe a Essence Train build or something like that, you can also play Occultist yeah, reliably. I also have a full guide on Essence Train that I made last week, so you can also check that if you want Essence Train. So yeah, what else we are using? Obviously we want to increase our area of effect and clear speed a lot more, so we are also using some cluster jewels which are very cheap, 40 chaos, 30 chaos each. West power, increased area damage, and also 3% increased area of effect per power charge. I'm only using 1 large and 2 medium clusters. You can also go double clusters, double large, 4 medium, those kind of stuff, but I only use 1 large, 2 medium. So I have 2 of these, 6 times 10, 60% area effect, so that means 120 combined with the Occultist. And we are all obviously using void batteries as weapons, so we have a lot of power charges. And finally we are also using an explode chest, so this is also boosts our clear speed a lot obviously, and thanks to that area of effect scaling, so we have some insane clear speeds, so we can just delete legion packs with some chain reaction stuff happening. And obviously we have Herald of Ice, I forgot that, yeah. So we have lots of explosions, those kind of stuff going on. And if you maybe I don't know if I put the clip yet, but yeah, sometimes in harbingers in Valdo's rest, because there are like 5 or 6 harbingers at one spot, the game just lags, it just stops for a moment and then everything is dead. So this also lags the servers sometimes, but that only happens in some maybe Delirium or maybe beyond it, what's that, harbingers, yeah. That doesn't happen on legions, those kind of stuff. But yeah, unfortunately this build sometimes lags when hitting large packs. So let's start with the items now, and I will explain everything, and after that the gems, those kind of stuff, yeah. So weapons, void batteries obviously. After the assassin nerf, these weapons are very cheap these days. I bought these with good rolls for 10 chaos each, maybe they are 20 chaos. If you are unlucky, you can just maybe put some live search and buy cheaper. So yeah, 10 chaos each. I also used harvest to change that quality to area of effect to even get more clear speed. You can also get elemental damage if you want DPS, that's your call. Since this is a build mainly for mapping, I went for area of effects. So helmet, so this is probably the most expensive. Oh no, the explosive chest, yeah, that's the most expensive. So this is maybe the second most expensive piece, because we used awaken orb, so you need to spend a couple of exiles for this. So you want there's also a clip, probably I'm gonna put it on the back right now, on how to craft this. +1 maximum power charges from, what's that, warlord, so yeah, Drox influence. And -9 cold resist to enemies from redemption, so redeemer. So you want 2 different items and use awakener orb to combine those. I haven't even fully crafted this yet because I don't even need it, so I just put some life and that's it. You can actually use augment crit on the suffix and get a guaranteed crit multiplier from the, what's that, warlord influence. Because my suffix also is blocked, I need to remove attack first to get rid of that accuracy. I haven't even bothered it because I don't want to invest so much in this build, it already delays everything. So yeah, if you want to min-max your build, you can also put that crit multiplier on the suffix. So yeah, use some harvest craft if you want to even craft a better helmet. And obviously we are also using winter orb +2 maximum stages, so this also gives DPS obviously. Amulet, so this is probably one of the cheapest items, Pandemonius, because breach stones drops a lot this league. This is only like 50-60 chaos I believe, maybe even cheaper now, I'm not sure. I also anointed it with constitution for some life, so this gives some penetration and blind because we are using cold skill obviously. So this provides both DPS and defense thanks to that blind. So yeah, very easy way to get some DPS. Chest, as I explained earlier, explode. Actually explode chests are very cheap this league because harvest is in core game right now. Because of that I also used awaken orb to get some friends charge on hit. So that's from redeemer. Explode is from crusader, so you want to combine the both to get a single chest. Obviously life and maybe some resists if you need. My resists are actually overcapped, and as you can see I also got chaos resist, which you don't need that much actually. If you don't care about maybe dying to maybe Alhazmin monsters, those kind of stuff, you don't actually need that chaos resist. So you can just get some frenzy charge, explode, life, and maybe 1 resist, and that's it. Yeah, not that crazy. You can even use harvest craft to craft it even more. I used a wall regalia because these stuff are all over the place right now. You can easily buy and craft these. So yeah, because energy shield also helps a little because this is a little, let's say, hybrid build, but I don't have that much energy shield actually. So maybe you can use evasion hybrid energy shield chest if you want. So just pick whatever you want, you know. The base type doesn't matter that much. Rings. So we want curse on one of our rings. So one of our curses is frostbite. So make sure you buy one of the rings with a frostbite curse on it. Life and some resists, obviously. And also there are two different damage nodes and not nodes, the damage affixes, let's say, you can get. Cold damage per friend's charge or cold damage against chilled or frozen enemies. So these are two separate modes that you can get on rings like these. Just buy whatever you can buy, let's say. Maybe I will put some search example on the screen so you can search easily for these kind of rings. And if you can do that, you try to get also an open prefix so you can put channeling skills have minus mana cost. Because I'm not using mana flask or any kind of mana regeneration, simply by reducing my mana cost. So my winter orb right now has 3 mana cost, so I don't need any mana regen or those kind of stuff. So crafting two different channeling mana cost, you know, stuff on your rings, because my other ring also has that. I can just easily, you know, play this build without worrying about mana. So other ring, since we don't need anything else, just some damage, life, resist. So shaper base rings, or again maybe redeemer to get some, you know, those cold damage against chilled or frozen enemies, spell damage, life, resist, and again minus mana cost, and that's it. These kind of rings are actually very easy to find. I bought this for 1 exalt, I believe. The other ring was also maybe 1 or 2 exalt, so rings are very cheap actually. Yeah. So gloves, this is also one of the cheapest items, only 1 exalt. You just want elemental weakness and cast speed, that's it. The other gem stuff doesn't even work. Maybe you can also get +1 gems maybe, or spell crit, life, I'm not sure, maybe more corruptions if you have the budget, but this is only 1 exalt. Maybe 2 right now, I'm not sure. So only cast speed and elemental weakness, that's our second curse for even more penetration. Because this glove is really easy to find. So yeah, I just bought this. This also gives some life, obviously 10%, and fire and lightning resist. Because this is a special item, you can actually modify this while corrupted. You can safely change the colors, or maybe divine orb, use divine orb to get better rolls. So you can do that even though this item is corrupted, because it has the mode can be modified while corrupted. So make sure you use Blessed Orb, Divine Orb to fix the bad rolls, and your gloves are ready. Belt, scheme wise, for some, you know, jewel socket obviously, life, resist, and cast speed, spell damage, those kind of stuff. You can also get maybe Redeemer belts with cold damage as a prefix, and also put global damage on those. But these kind of belts are very easy to find thanks to Harvestcraft, because influence belts are all over the place. I bought this maybe for like 1 or 2 exalt, something like that. There are lots of similar results on the market. Maybe you can skip that cast speed and just get spell damage if you want, but yeah, these are very easy to find unless you put a lot of resist, or wait a second, we can't even get 2 resist, yeah, because both damage stats are already suffixes. So yeah, you can only get 1 resist if you try to buy something like this. And yeah, these are very easy to find, very cheap actually. So for the jewel, I'm using a hypnotic eye jewel, life, cold damage to spells, crit multiplier, cast speed. You don't need to search for cast speed. I was just lucky and get that. Just try to get crit multiplier, that is very important, life, and maybe cold damage to spells, or fire damage to spells. Because I forgot to get fire damage here, because we are using Cinder Swallow Flask, so we want to ignite the monsters. So make sure you put fire damage to spells on this jewel, or you have to buy another jewel with that and put it on your talent tree. So yeah, try to get that fire damage somewhere to Cinder Swallow work, you know. And finally, boots. So this is again another expensive piece. You don't actually need both elusive and tailwind. You can just get elusive for movement speed and dodge, so you don't die. This is actually not a very tanky build, but I only died once while mapping. I am right now 94 levels, So because this build is very fast, chills, freezes everything, off screens monsters, you know, yeah, playing with a little low health isn't that important actually. So yeah, try to get that elusive or tailwind at least. If you have the budget, just get them both. You can actually put elusive with augment crit. It is a guaranteed, I believe, mode as a prefix. So maybe you can also do that. Yeah. So elusive, dodge, movement speed, tailwind gives attack speed, not attack speed, action speed actually, which is also cast speed and also movement speed. So yeah, probably elusive is my #1 choice. So try to get that at least for some defense. So flasks, let's get rid of them. Quicksilver obviously for movement speed, also put movement speed on it to move even faster. Diamond flask for crit lucky, so your crits get rolled twice, so you can crit more obviously. And also put curse immunity, that is important. Dying Sun, because it's a projectile build, the more projectiles the better the DPS. So this both helps our single target and also clear speed. So projectile count is very important, so Dying Sun is your best option. This also gives area of effect, which is very good for this build, so we can even clear faster. So this flask increases our clear speed a lot. Cinder Swallow, as I explained a moment ago, first of all you need some fire damage to spells on one of your Abyss Jewels. It is actually recommended, you know, to get one Abyss Jewel with fire damage and put it on your belt, because I forgot that the first time I made the build, you know, both the items, those kind of stuff. I actually had to buy another Abyss Jewel and put it on my talent tree. So you can normally get, you know, normal Cobalt Jewels, those kind of stuff for more DPS. So try to do that and put that fire damage on your belts Abyss Jewel. So you can ignite the target to get that 10% increased damage. This flask also recovers your life, mana and energy shield if you have killed an enemy. So very good for mapping, also gives onslaught for some attack speed and cast speed and movement speed. And finally, this is actually the budget version. It has avoid stun and movement speed. That actually does nothing to me because my boots already have 80% chance to avoid stun if you have killed recently, so I am almost stun immune. So this is actually the budget version. You can actually get the Cinder Swallow Flask with crit chance. That is better for DPS, but that is more expensive. So if you want, just get that. If you don't want to invest that much, just use this. It doesn't really matter. You just delete, you know, map monsters anyway. But if you want to also focus more boss DPS with this build, just get that critical one. So our last flask is Eternal Life Flask. You don't even press this that much, everything just dies real fast. They cannot even attack you most of the times. We also have, you know, Cinder Swallow Recover and also some Leech. We're gonna talk about that real soon. So yeah, this is just an insurance, you know, if you get maybe hit a lot somehow, yeah. So a Life Flask. If you actually don't care about dying, maybe, as I said earlier, I only died once with this character. And I have been farming legions and harbingers with this character, so it is actually very safe with this build. So you can actually maybe don't get an Eternal Life Flask and maybe use another flask like maybe Battle Fate for even more DPS, or maybe get a Quartz Flask for more dodge and phasing. Phasing can actually be nice. I don't have phasing right now, yeah. So you can also do that if you want. So let's talk about the talent tree in game, and I will explain what jewels I used and what I did. So we are playing a witch, obviously. We already talked about the ascendancy at the start of the video. So if you want to level this character first, I actually haven't leveled this with Essence Drain. I just thought about Essence Drain for some reason. I actually haven't leveled this as Winter Orb, so I cannot say anything about leveling because I'm not sure if Winter Orb is good as leveling or not. So you have to use something you know, and you are comfortable with, or maybe try Winter Orb, I'm not sure. So I won't say anything about leveling, that is your job. Let's see what I did, what I picked. So this channeling node here also gives -3 mana cost, so we can easily get very low mana cost, so we don't have to worry about mana at all. We are using a Thread of Hope here. It is a large, that's important. So we can get Snow Forged, cold damage, resist, crit chance, but more importantly this Heart of Ice, cold damage, penetration and some inner shield leech, which also helps a little. And also I got this stun avoidance while casting, and also a lot of strength and dexterity, which is good. So yeah, you can do this. We are also obviously getting power charges all over the tree because we are using void batteries obviously. I am only using one inspired learning because while farming harbingers and legion, this helps you a lot. If you have a headhunter, if you have a higher budget, maybe you can skip this because we have to actually get some sheet notes here to get 4 notables. 1, 2, 3, 4. Otherwise this jewel doesn't work. Because this here mana we don't even need it. Soul Thief, some maximum energy shield and evasion, this is also shit. So these 4 notes are actually doing nothing almost, you know. So this is they are just needed for inspired learning. So yeah, if you have Headhunter, just skip this. Put some good jewel here and do something else with these 4 points. You can get Throat Seeker probably for more DPS. I also went for dodge here. What else? Crit, life, plus additional, you know, curse. So I have 3 curses total because Occultist also gives +1. So my curses are obviously, we already talked about those: elemental weakness, frostbite, but we haven't talked about the gems yet. Yeah, where's that? Sniper mark. This is only for single target obviously. We are going to talk about that in the gem section. So what else? Only one cluster. Maybe if you skip this area, get rid of inspired learning and buy a headhunter, and maybe level even more. I am right now 94, maybe you can push 97, 98. Maybe somehow you can get a second large cluster, and also by dumping some other nodes. I'm not sure where, but maybe dump some life, I'm not sure. So you can even get a second cluster if you want. But this is how I squeezed everything. So only one large. The most important things are blanketed snow for some penetration and Dorian's lesson, so you can leech. Without this you cannot leech. Maybe I missed something, but yeah, you probably need this for leech. We are already using Cinder Swallow, so recover helps a lot, but a little leech obviously helps more to recover our life. Medium jewels, area of effect, Vast Power and Magnifier. So this is for area stacking obviously. These are like 40-50 chaos, very cheap. The large jewel is a little expensive, 3 exalt, maybe 4, something like that. This is only like 2 passive by the way. If you go for 3, they are like 10 exalt, very expensive, you don't even need that. But obviously make sure you get an 8 passive. Large, the medium should be 4 or 5. Do not get 6, alright? 4 or 5. As you can see, this is 5. Because the 5th node is here, you don't even need that, you can just go like this. Watcher's Eye, cold damage, damage penetration. You don't need this. This is something that I bought weeks ago. I am using this on most of my builds because it is expensive obviously. You can just get damage penetrates and that's it. Because this is a mapping build, you don't need this much DPS. We are already one-shotting most of the stuff. So just get maybe penetration, hatred, and that's it. If you have the budget, obviously go for double, yeah. So this is my second jewel because I forgot to put it on my this one, you know, because I had to get fire damage somewhere. So my Winthrop can deal some fire damage. As you can see, only 33, 32 fire damage, and that's enough to ignite. So my Cinder Swallow works. So yeah, try to get somewhere fire damage. And also Corrupted Blood is good. You can just go for that because Winter Orb hits a lot in a second. You can actually get at least 10 stacks, you know, in a second, in a blink of an eye. You won't even notice that maybe. So you will just lose a lot of health by the time you notice that. So Corrupted Blood really helps with this build, so try to get that somewhere if you want. But obviously we are also using Bleed on our Flask, but yeah. And obviously you also need Sovereignty or whatever it is, some mana reservations, because we are using 3 buffs. So yeah, this is also important. So yeah, that's about 3. So let's talk about the gems, and that's gonna be probably it. So let's start with, you know, by order, or maybe let's just talk about Winter Orb first. Maybe that will make more sense. I'm not sure. So Winter Orb 21 level, if you can get that, that's actually cheap. Maybe like 1 exalt, something like that. Yeah, because most people don't even play Winter Orb. these days. GMP to even get more projectiles. As I said earlier, this is a projectile build and it can obviously hit the same target multiple times. So projectile count is very important. Combining it with Dying Sun, we can get, you know, both clear and both, you know, single target DPS. Infuse channeling, more damage. And if you channel, you can also get some buff, you know, even more damage. Inspiration, these charges here, more damage, elemental damage. This also reduces the mana cost a lot, 6 to 3. Power charge on crit, more damage per power charge. So we have 10 power charges normally. While you kill stuff, obviously we don't have anything right now. And 10 power charges, 40% more damage. And this is also how you generate your power charges. 54 chance to gain power charge on crit chance, because we are critting all the time. Your power charges are up all the time while you are hitting monsters. And finally, cold damage. If you can get awakened cold damage is actually cheap these days, so you can easily get one. Or you can use control distraction if you want, but I am playing with this, so just check that of building maybe. If you are fine with your mana cost, you can use maybe something else instead of inspiration. Maybe again control destruction or maybe hypothermia, something like that. So yeah. So weapon, let's check this. Arcanist brand, so this is only for bosses, you don't need this while mapping. Just put your brand on the boss and it will do all the work for you, because this Arcanist brand casts the other spells that is attached to this. So Frost Bomb for exposure, cold penetration, and Sniper Mark, this is our third curse for more projectile damage. So this is only for bosses again. Just put this brand on the boss and that's it. I am using Portal and Enhance. This is actually nothing, you can just level gems here. This is actually a blank slot. I don't even have anything here. So because I don't want to use Portal Scrolls. So on my helmet I have the new skill Hydro Spear attached to Arcane Surge to proc, you know, some more damage. And also Flame Dash that also procs our Arcane Surge. And finally Anomalous Bone Chill. So Anomalous isn't that important but gives some cold damage to that Hydro Spear. So this is actually for some area coverage, and also yeah, that's actually the only reason probably. But probably Bone Chill also helps with some single target DPS, because that's what Path of Building says, but I am not 100% sure, but it works it seems. So Hydro Spear, you can just put it somewhere, maybe in a dell, you can just put it on that corner and maybe kill monsters here while you are, you know, defending that last area. This actually kills stuff on its own. This has something like 300 or 400k DPS I believe, which is enough to kill normal monsters easily. And you can also use this in rituals, you know, just put it somewhere and it can actually kill some stuff. So yeah, this is just for some area coverage and also some chill effects, and hopefully that Bone Chill support also gives us DPS, but I am again not 100% sure. So yeah. Gloves, buffs, hatred, more cold damage, and if you have a Watcher's Eye it also helps even more. Zealotry, I'm not sure. Again, more damage, spell damage and crit chance. You can also get Watcher's Eye with this buff or maybe combine these two, so there are actually a lot of options. Yeah. Herald of Ice, some cold damage and also clear increases our clear speed. So combining this with explode chest, that's how we can clear insane. And finally Enlighten, 4 level is needed, otherwise you cannot use 2 auras at once. So yeah, you can actually get a gloves with +1 gem and ele weakness maybe instead of cast speed, and go with 3 level Enlighten, 20 level hatred, 20 level zealotry, so they will all be, you know, +1, so they will be again the same stuff as you see right now. So you can actually, you know, go cheaper maybe, but I'm not sure about the price on that glove. So yeah, you can actually check that, and that will maybe save you a couple of exiles, because Enlighten is expensive and these are like maybe 60-70 chaos each, so almost 1 exalt each. So yeah, that can actually save you some money, maybe if you can get that kind of gloves. Finally, the gems on my boots, some cast fan damage taken for mitigation combining with immortal call, increased duration and righteous fire, but it is Val, obviously we don't need the normal one. This is just a DPS cooldown that you want to press maybe while clearing legions or on a map boss, or if you are killing normal bosses, you know, guardians, those kind of stuff. Again, yeah, this is a DPS cooldown, and increased duration also helps. So yeah, these are all the gems. So let's talk about, before we finish the video, you know, end the video, what you can buy to even make this build better, boss killer, or maybe even be, you know, have more DPS, let's say, while mapping, which you don't need. But if you really enjoyed the build, if you also want to kill bosses with this build already can kill bosses. The clips were at the start somewhere, you should have watched those. Yeah, but yeah, you can just go for more. So let's talk about that. So first of all, amulet, probably you can get badge of brotherhood, because that's a league specific item that's very expensive, and also assassins use that, so it's a very popular item. That also, so what is that amulet, what does it do? So it gives some elusive stuff for, you know, even more dodge, those kind of stuff, but the most important thing is it actually makes your frenzy charges equal to your power charges. So because we are using a frenzy charge, you know, generation chest, frenzy charge on it, 10% chance, whatever, the redeemer chest, we can generate frenzy charges, and they will also be 10 frenzy charges because we have 10 power charges. So right now I have 4 frenzy charges because I also got one from talent tree, so you don't even need that, and that will just be 10 frenzy charges. So each frenzy charge obviously gives 4% more damage and some cast speed, what's that, attack speed, those kind of stuff. So it will mean 40% more damage with frenzy charges. So that amulet gives a lot of more damage, elusive stuff, and maybe some stuff that I missed, I'm not sure. So yeah, that can be your western slot amulet maybe, if you want to spend more. You can get a better Hands of the High Templar maybe, with some maybe +1 gems, or I'm not really sure, maybe some spell crit that can be better. So yeah, maybe you can do something like that. Headhunter, obviously, because this is a mapping build, you can easily farm the money with this build and eventually buy a Headhunter if you want, and maybe get rid of that inspired learning. And yeah, you can also do that. Other than that, there is actually not that much. Ah yeah, I actually forgot one stuff that is also very expensive. Oh yeah, Awakened Greater Multiple Projectile Support. So normal GMP support gives 4 additional projectiles, and that should give Awakened 5, I believe. That's also very expensive, so you can also buy that to even increase your clear speed and boss DPS more. So yeah. And finally, Battle Fate Flask. I have that, but I'm not using it. I don't need it. You can also use that because I don't want to make the build more expensive. So yeah. If you have any questions or other stuff, you know, yeah, just join my Discord. That's where I chat with people. So yeah. So thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.